Welcome to WTV News this evening. My name is Nicholas Mudimba. As usual, let's now go straight and look at the headlines of the day. Cubbing Ebola. Low-cost housing, owning a home. We speak to Sirovet CEO Wolf on unusual rise in opinion ratings. The Kenyan government has actually upped its game and efforts in curbing the virus by purchasing thermal scanners at a cost of 160 million to curb the menace in all airports. All passengers going and leaving the country will be screened for that purpose. The efforts only go replicate a move by the Western nations. France, the United Kingdom, the US, who through the US Marines have camped at the now Ebola hotbed of Liberia to stop the spread of the deadly virus that has actually affected the whole world.
The fleet of 6 United States military planes with 100 Marines on board landed in the Liberian capital, Monrovia. They will be working with the Liberian soldiers in setting up an Ebola treatment center.
This ETU here has taken about 2 weeks to get to this stage, maybe another 2 weeks and it'll be fully operational. And in full support of the government of Liberia, in cooperation with the Armed Forces of Liberia, we're building up to 17 of these ETUs or supporting ETUs throughout the country.
The US military is providing technical and logistical support and has contracted the armed forces of Liberia to build the centers. Liberia is the country that was mostly affected by the viral that has killed more than 4,400 people, mostly in the 3 West African nations, including Sierra Leone and Guinea.
It's been an incredible working relationship. We see their efforts, their tireless efforts to help their countrymen. We're very proud to be part of that effort. And as you can see here, when we all come together for a cause, we can really make things happen quickly.
With a high number of Ebola cases in the country, the units are designed to provide long-term treatment to those infected.
Right now we have the 3 that they're working on together. They will work on some additional ones. I'm not sure if the entire 17 will be built in conjunction with the armed forces, but we are going to do as many of them as possible in conjunction with the Armed Forces of Liberia, because we want to give them the opportunity to demonstrate their skills and what they can do to give back to their own country.
Meanwhile, Kenya has procured 8 thermoscanners at a cost of 160 million shillings to be used to screen all passengers at the airport. The airport authority has been screening only those from affected nations. Rading Biko reporting for WTV.
Tonight on our feedback question, we ask you, do you think latest measures will help curb Ebola? Do you think latest measures will help curb the Ebola menace? 20058 will be sampling some of your views at the end and of course our subsequent bulletins. Now, owning a home is everyone's desire. The challenge, however, has been the cost implication, which has conveniently locked out persons without requisite financial muscle to do so. But did you know there are still options available for the lower cadre of society? Nelly Emilia brings us the following report.
Majority of Kenyans do not own their home, thus increasing the demand for rental houses, especially in the city. Consequently, more and more financial institutions are providing affordable mortgages to meet the surging demand. Remarkably, Rafiki Deposit Taking Microfinance is going out of its way to not only offer low-interest loans to low-income earners, but also to provide solutions to owning a home at a lower cost.
The key word here is about affordable housing. That means a house that one at each level of income you can afford a decent house. We don't bring the low cost just to compromise on quality. And what we've done is we've brought all the actors, all the players within the beauty and industry, and we've already partnered with key partners in this, both contractors, both the consultants, both the material suppliers, whether it's cement, whether it's paint, whether it's roofing sheets or tiles and all that. We partners who've come together, and together we looked at the best, most cost-effective way to bring down the cost of land. You realize the key component of a cost of a house is actually land. Yeah. It's not necessarily those materials. It's land and, of course, labor. Those two variables is what adds up to the cost of a house, mainly. Okay, so long as you manage your labor very well, then again you'll be able to keep the costs very low and finish the job faster. And that's why we brought all these consultants together, so that we give you one solution. We even tell you where to pick your cement, we tell you where to pick your ballast, which contractors, because we have a whole list of partners in terms of contractors. We have consultants, including architects and consultants, who have again agreed on discounted prices on their fees and things like that, just to make it affordable. Quality but affordable house.
Apart from these solutions, Rafiki will also advise you on how to save for a house depending on how much you earn.
Well, when you look at the market of the people who live in Nairobi, anyone can afford. Depends the kind of a house that you're looking for, the kind of shelter that one is looking for. But really, it's anyone who has some level of income. I'm looking at people who earn between 15,000 and above. Those are people can afford. But the kind of house that each category can afford is different, depending on their income levels.
Undoubtedly, with the right advice, mortgage plan, and determination, most Kenyans can actually own a home. Home ownership brings with it comfort, convenience, and an opportunity to save for the future. Reporting for WTV, I am Nelly Milia.
A look at Malta's presidency now. President Uhuru Kenyatta's popularity ratings has nearly doubled following his decisions to honor the summons by the ICC. This has brought about interrogations of just what triggered the increment in rating. WTV exclusively spoke to Tom Wolf, State of its team chief executive. He explains reasons that informed the shift in the opinion polls towards President Uhuru Kenyatta.
On October 8, 2014, President Uhuru Kenyatta had a date with the ICC chambers, but prior to his attendance, there were concerns about the impact of his attendance. We talked to Ipsos Kenya lead researcher Tom Wolf about this turnaround.
This extra increase perhaps came from the approval over his decision to go to The Hague. Because as I think back over the last 6 weeks since we did our previous survey up till now, I can't think of very many other very positive things that have happened.
Research shows that there is a rise in President Uhuru Kenyatta's approval ratings from 43% 2 months ago to 71%, attributed to his decision to honor his date with The Hague.
Nearly 9 out of 10 Kenyans said that they approved the president's decision to go to The Hague for his status conference after all the uncertainty as to whether he would go or not. That suggests to me, but I can't prove it analytically, it suggests to me that although even before this Hague issue came up, we had between 4 and 5 out of every 10 Kenyans, as you just said, 43% in our last national household survey, who were giving him a lot of confidence.
He goes on to elaborate on the details leading to increased support for the Pesa Mashinani referendum call, as opposed to the opposition-led Okoa Kenya drive.
I think especially with regard to the governor's initiative, at least some of the governors, the Pesa Mashinani, that question will be answered mainly, in my view, as to whether negotiations which have been promised and which to a certain extent have already begun between the executive and these governors through Parliament, whether they will bring about through ordinary legislation at least some of the increase in resources that the Pesa Mashinani initiative is asking for.
All said and done, whether or not the referendum calls will materialize depend squarely on how both parties are organized and the amount of support each party gets from the public. This support will only be attained if the issues advocated for are simplified and well understood by the masses. Reporting for WTV, my name is Agnes Maina.
Now to matters international. Mozambique's National Electoral Commission will soon begin announcing provisional results from Wednesday's presidential, parliamentary and provincial assemblies elections following a relatively peaceful exercise.
The main contenders for the Mozambique's presidential election cast their votes early in Maputo Wednesday in an election expected to return the ruling Frelimo party to power in one of Africa's fastest growing economies, which is looking to escape years of poverty and conflict by tapping into its huge energy resources.
Naturalmente que sim, penso que viram o trabalho que nós fizemos, o trabalho que eu fiz, foi trabalho cuidado, trabalho preparado.
However, he is facing a tough challenge from both the Renamo leader and former rebel chief Afonso de Lacama and from a rising third force in the former Portuguese colony, Davi Simango, and his Mozambique Democratic Movement, MDM. More than 10 million voters were registered to take part in the elections for a new president, parliament and provincial assemblies. Meanwhile, CORD leader Raila Odinga arrived in Mozambique to head over 50 electoral observer teams under the auspices of Electoral Institute for Sustainable Democracy in Africa. Ordinary Mozambicans say they want whoever wins the vote to use the country's newly discovered resources to end poverty and inequality and create more jobs.
And finally, we look at sports. It is a sport that excites many, sends thrill to many, but something funny is that many do not understand how it's played and even the rules, but at the end of the day, they adore the sport. Many also don't understand the captaincy behind the Kenya Sevens team, which of course is one of the best performing teams in the country behind athletics. We look at Andrew Amonde, who's the captain of the Kenya Sevens national team.
Andrew Amonde, one of Kenya's most dependable rugby players. But did you know this gentleman used to play basketball and handball in high school before the onset of his rugby career? In the year 2000, he began his professional career. And in 2001, he was signed by KCB RFC. In 2005, Amonde was called to the National 15 squad. In 2006, he joined the National 7 squad. And in 2008, he was named the KCB RFC captain. In 2012, Andrew Amonde was named the National Sevens team captain, a position he holds to date. These are just to mention but a few of his achievements. His journey so far, very impressive.
The try, really, the ways go by Injera, and cutting through, right through the middle. What a start, and look at the Kenyan fans.
Well, Mike Friday spoke to earlier, talked.
And that's all we had for you from the WTV News Desk. On behalf of the able team of experienced journalists, we say thank you for watching. See you tomorrow, same place, same time. My name is Nicholas Mudimba.